Hello and welcome to the Under Center podcast. I'm your host, Dara Marr, and I am joined once again by just Fionn Malloy. So that's two shows now Jake has missed in a row. I know this isn't a baseball show, but the old adage is 3 strikes and you're out.
Yeah, well, this is about his 5th strike now, remember that. So I think he's still in the contagion protocol. He hasn't been let back in on the show facilities yet to the recording studio that we have here in Dublin. But yeah, at least I'm just happy because I know he's being fined for all these shows that he's missing. So as long as it's coming out of his paycheck, I don't mind. He can miss as many as he wants.
Well, that's it, and it saves us money too. We don't have to pay him. It just means more for us, Fionn.
Exactly.
More for us. And also there could be more for you, because if you have been looking at our social channels these past 24 hours, we started the competition yesterday on Thursday. So of course we have a competition running. You have your chance to win yourself an NFL jersey of your choice. Terms and conditions apply. But so all you have to do is, if you're following us on Twitter, all you have to do was like the tweet, retweet it, and tag 3 of your friends to be in with a chance to win the jersey. On the other side of things, if you're doing it on Instagram, exact same thing. Like the post, share it to your story, and also tag 3 friends who you think would also like the chance to win an NFL jersey. And we must thank our partners in this Horan Estates who have been so generous to donate the jersey. So a really big shout out to them. Make sure you're also following their pages as well to be in with a chance to follow or to win the jersey next Thursday, on the Thursday Night Football, the start of the season. The Dallas Cowboys traveling to Tampa Bay to take on the Buccaneers, the Super Bowl champions. You'll have a new jersey in time for that. Possibly for week 2. Obviously, you'll only know you're getting the jersey at week 1. But Fionn, we have another bumper show today. Of course, we did our AFC shows earlier on in the week. We were kind of similar in certain aspects, disagreed in other aspects too. We have our NFC predictions today. What do you think? Do you think they're going to be sort of along the same lines?
Well, we'll have to wait and see, but usually great minds think alike, and I think we have 2 great minds here on this show. So I wouldn't be surprised if we agree on quite a lot of things. We will, of course, tear each other to shreds on the pieces that we don't agree on. So I think we should get into it. I know everyone's on tender hooks, waiting to see our amazing predicting skills. Dara's in-depth analysis, data going everywhere. He's like that meme with the maths whizzing around his head as he calculates everything. Me lying back in my chair, eyeballing everyone, going with my gut instinct on what I see on the pitch. And so I'll be interested to compare those two formats, those 2 theoretical ideas, and let's see who comes out on top.
You're not the first person to compare me to Jason Sudeikis in The Hangover. So thanks a lot for that. That was a memory I didn't need to relive again, but thank you so much. That I know the beard and the hair and the chubbiness makes me look like Jason Sudeikis.
Is that not Zach Galifianakis? Oh,
Sudeikis is Galifianakis. Sudeikis is Ted Lasso. My apologies. You're totally right. Sorry, I thought I got away with one saying I looked like the nicer looking one. But thank you for bringing me right back down to earth on that.
No problem.
You're always there to make sure that to keep my feet on the ground.
Absolutely. You're a fearless leader, but you have to be humble as well.
The Bill Belichick, as we talked about on Wednesday evening. But look, let's get straight into the predictions. Fionn, we started with yours on Wednesday, so I think it's only fair that we start with mine this week. So I'm going to give you my NFC predictions for 2021, and here they are in all their glory. A quick little rundown of them. My division winners: Green Bay Packers, obviously because Aaron Rodgers has agreed to stay, and they're doing their whole the last dance this season with Devontae Adams, so we'll see how that goes. Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to sweep that division. I think they're the only one that has a really a complete team, so that they'll be able to sort of run away with that division. As you can see, no one's going to be anywhere near them. The NFC West is, Fionn, I'm sure you're delighted to see. I have Washington taking the division. I took a win away specifically from the Giants today because Jake decided not to show up. So that's why they're finishing third and not second. And then in the NFC West, again, it's going to be a very close division. And I still believe that my Seattle Seahawks are going to win their division. They had a 12-4 record last year and won the division. They haven't lost any major pieces of the puzzle. In fact, they've actually gained some valuable pieces. So I think, and it's another year forward for the likes of DK Metcalf and stuff too. So I think, why can't they go and run it again? So that's what I believe. My playoff teams this year, I have two teams coming from the NFC West in the 49ers and the Rams. And then it was a toss-up between the Bears and the Cowboys for me to take that last wild card spot in the playoffs. So we could see who comes down to sort of what can happen, you know. So one of those teams could end up losing one more game, so it could be an 8-9, which kicks them out of the playoffs. So we'll see what happens there. But Fionn, tell me, what do you think of my NFC predictions?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think the NFC is a little bit more predictable than the AFC. Again, obviously, you have the top and bottom of most divisions, and then right in the meat is where we can argue a little bit on who goes where. In terms of the winners, I think they make sense. Interesting to note that you've decided no one is going to go for an undefeated season. I know the Buccaneers, the Packers, and who do we have in the AFC? The Kansas City Chiefs all probably have their eye on it if they can. But I mean, I agree with you on that. The extra game is very difficult. 17 games winning all in a row is going to be very tough. I think the one thing that jumped out at me the most would have to be the Carolina Panthers at 8-9. Obviously, you don't have them making the playoffs. But I think 8-9 is quite generous. I wouldn't be surprised if they struggle quite a bit this year. Sam Darnold might play well and might transition well and could, again, boost them a lot in the seasons coming. But always that first transition is when, if there is going to be any problems, that's where we're going to see it. Interesting as well, the Saints have the same problem. They obviously just named Jameis Winston their starter for week 1. So he will be under center. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see Taysom Hill mixed in there. And that could lead to a few wins maybe that people aren't necessarily expecting. So 7-10, I think, is on their low end. They might nick a win or two. Further than that, like I mentioned, other than that, everything is kind of higgledy-piggledy. NFC East, they call it the NFC least, but I'm going to actually call it the most entertaining division in football. It is the tightest between those top 3 teams, I would argue. Most people don't have Washington winning, so I'm happy to see them on top of yours. I wouldn't be surprised if it is very tight between the Cowboys and the Giants, and they trade a win somewhere, either plus or minus, somewhere around 8-8, 9-8, or 8-9. The Eagles are trash this year. I don't think anyone's going to argue with you on that one. And again, the NFC West, a lot of wins in that division, but I can see that. I don't have any problem with where you have the NFC West, to be brutally honest with you.
Yeah, I think the reason why no one has Washington winning the division this year is because, you know, Dallas are getting that Hard Knocks bump. You know, any team that's on Hard Knocks add 1 or 2 wins to their record straight away because they're on Hard Knocks, because you see them more often than any other team. So I'm trying to not be led down that garden path a little bit. I'm trying to just, you know, see what's in front of me and start seeing, you know, what, you know, is being fabricated in terms of, you know, obviously, you know, these shows dress things up and, you know, dramatize things so much just for viewership. And, you know, the Dak thing is still interesting as well. You know, this is all based on Dak playing a full season, but he still has that issue with his shoulder, so we still don't know. And also with the foot, what's going to happen on his return there too, you know. So we'll see. And we saw with cut days that they've gotten rid of pretty much all of their backup quarterbacks, and we'll see, you know, with Cam Newton gone, there was talk about Cam Newton maybe going to the Cowboys, and, you know, they could be there. They could, he could end up there too, but which could be an okay backup to have if there is any issues with Dak and either his foot and his shoulders. Like the Bears, I'm kind of a little high on this year because I like to trust that Matt Nagy is going to make the right decision and put Justin Fields in sooner rather than later. So that's why I think maybe they could have gotten maybe to 10 wins if he started in week 1. But if he's starting Andy Dalton week 1, I think that's going to be difficult. And I'm not high on the Vikings this year. I don't know, the whole issues around Kirk Cousins, and they're one of the teams with the lowest vaccination rate as well. I think it's very difficult. I think they're having a really, really tough year, and I think that a bad year like this actually could spell the end for Mike Zimmer and Kirk Cousins in Minnesota, and they could decide to tear things down and just start a rebuild again for the next couple of years. But that's being ultra pessimistic about their chances this year, but we'll see. But that's my NFC predictions. We'll see what happens there with that. We'll go on to yours, Fionn, now in a second. But before we do, I mentioned about the competition again. I'm going to mention it one more time as well. We are running a competition on both our Instagram and Twitter pages. You have the opportunity to win an NFL jersey of your choice. Make sure you're following us at UnderCenterPod on Instagram, at UnderCenterPod on Twitter. That's where you'll find the details to enter the competition. Make sure you're also following Horan Estates. They are our partners in this. They were the ones who were very generous in donating the jersey to us, so that we could give it out to one of our lucky viewers or listeners. Also, if you prefer the audio side of the show, just search Under Center Podcast, and you can listen to the podcast anytime you like to there. So let's go. Sorry, not even before. Let's go straight in, Fionn, to your predictions for the NFC this year, and run me through it.
Yeah, top and bottom again. I've gone similar to you, or exactly the same as you. Green Bay, Tampa Bay are going to walk through theirs. I feel like the Washington are going to come out on top of the NFC East, and I have the Seattle Seahawks. You'll be delighted to know, winning the division despite Wilson's cliff very quickly oncoming. So I think he's going to just about manage his way through that. I wouldn't be surprised. Again, the NFC, I have a lot of wins in that division, and I think they are the best division at the moment in terms of the winning. The Arizona Cardinals are getting better, but they're still going to tag along at 7-10. On the bottom end of all of those divisions, I, of course, went the same as you. I have the Lions at 5-12. Again, it's that new quarterback, new system. They're still rebuilding there, let's be honest. So I think they can get things going in the right direction. 5-12, while isn't very glamorous, is definitely a step up probably of what Lions fans are used to in the last couple of seasons. The Falcons, I don't believe Kyle Pitts is going to help them out at all. I think they're going to struggle this year. 3-14 might be a little bit low, maybe you could argue, but I really don't think they're going to be a good football team this year. And again, with the Eagles, so 3-14 as well for the Eagles. It's probably no surprise given my allegiances in the NFC East, but I really don't think they have the quarterback situation sorted out. I really don't think the wide receivers are good enough despite adding Devontae. Sorry, I've gone blank on his name. What's his name?
Devontae
Smith. He is a great player, but again, as a rookie wide receiver, it's going to be difficult to be able to drag that team along with you. The main points I think I've differed with you is obviously, as I mentioned, Carolina, their struggles. I think the Saints, just with their different weapons on offense, and I think if Michael comes back, he will definitely improve that offense. So they might nick an extra couple of wins there at the end of the season. The Vikings, we talked about off the air. I really like them more than the Bears this season because of Cook and that running game. And it's so difficult to stop. And if you come up against teams who can't stop the run, there's not much they can do about it. We can always scheme against the air. And God knows, I don't think Kirk Cousins can do much damage in the air. But certainly on the ground, they've shown that they can be quite as dangerous, and I see them being equally as effective as the Tennessee Titans this season. For me, the Bears, I wouldn't be surprised if Andy Dalton plays a little bit longer than everyone expects him to. I think he's going to nick a few wins here and there. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up with a better win percentage than Fields at the end of the season. I do think Fields will get in, but I wouldn't be surprised if he finishes the season better. And then down in the NFC East, I think I'm going to give it to Jake, 8-9, not particularly spectacular, but I do see them beating the Dallas Cowboys at 6-11. And that's really, I've gone the same way as you. I don't buy into the hype of Hard Knocks. I don't like what I see on the pitch. They haven't shown us much football or scrimmages that they have in seasons past, and that leads me to suspect that maybe the quality isn't really there on the pitch. They've focused a lot on off the field dressing room stuff so far in the episodes we've seen to date. So it'll be interesting to see how that translates onto the pitch. But is there anything really you want to pick me up on in these predictions?
No, I like that. I mentioned that I think Carolina are going to do better this year. I'm pulling for Sam Darnold. I think that maybe he can make something of it down there. They've got some good talent. Especially with Christian McCaffrey coming back. You got Robbie Anderson, you got DJ Moore, you've got what is his name? Is it Terrence Marshall is the rookie wide receiver out there. There's a lot of hype behind him. So there's some good names there on offense. The defense is getting better. You got I think JC Horn is their first round draft pick this year. Jeremy Chin had a good year last year. Now he's going to take that step up maybe in this year. Linebacker is an issue, but look, we'll see. That's why I don't have them. I think I had them 8 and 9 as well. So, one win in the difference between us is not a whole lot. Same with the Saints. Just one win in the difference. I know that everyone's excited because Jameis Winston's the starter. Like you, I agree. I don't think he's going to be the starter all the time. I think Taysom Hill's going to be coming in a bit as well. So we'll see what happens there. Me and you sort of switched. The only thing on the NFC East, or the NFC West, I should say, is we switched on the positions of the Rams and the 49ers. I had the 49ers to finish second. You had the Rams finishing third, but it doesn't matter. We still think they're going to make it to the playoffs via a wild card position anyway. So it'll all be interesting to see how long Jimmy Garoppolo stays under center, when Trey Lance is going to come in. Are they going to do something that we saw like in the last preseason game where there's certain plays that Jimmy is good for and there's certain plays that Trey Lance is going to be good for? So we'll see what happens there. Like you said, you're a lot higher on the Vikings than I am this year. So we'll see what happens there. Like you are right that if they are holding a lead, running the ball is going to kill the opposition, especially with the quality of Dalvin Cook. I worry about the defensive side a little on that aspect, just because I don't think that, obviously they have Harrison Smith there, who is fantastic safety, who got a contract extension there just last week. So they have some good names. Daniil Hunter is going to be coming back after missing last year, so they do have some pieces. I don't know. I just don't trust the defense as much as you do. You're quite generous, I think, to the Lions. I think they're going to struggle a lot this year. Jared Goff under center. He hasn't got Sean McVay calling all these mad plays for him anymore. He's got, I can't even remember who's the offensive coordinator there for the Lions. I'm drawing a blank on it anyway. But you've got Dan Campbell as the head coach, who is, eccentric to say the least. So we'll see what happens there with him. Yeah, and then me and you just switch around with the Cowboys and the Giants. We'll see what happens there. You're very down on the Cowboys. Get 6-11 record. I know. I don't know if it's team bias.
Certainly is. It certainly is. Yeah.
Probably. I was trying to give you the benefit of the doubt, but let's call it what it is.
Yeah.
It is team bias, but I still think they have too many good players to be a 6-11 team. I think they do. And I think like with CeeDee Lamb going to take the step up this year, they have Amari Cooper there. Michael Gallup is a really good wide receiver 3 to have. On the defensive side of the things, Seattle Seahawk defensive coordinator Dan Quinn now in charge of the defense there. Micah Parsons, I think, is going to be a stud this year. I think he'll be defensive rookie of the year. I think so. He's going to take control of that linebacking and the middle of that defense, and I think he's going to do quite well. You got DeMarcus Lawrence on the line too, and the secondary I worry about, and I think that's where if I was to agree with your predictions, that's where I would think that they're going to lose a lot of games and concede a lot of points. It's with their secondary. They haven't done a lot to sort of fix that. They signed a few players from the Falcons, but they were playing on a Falcons defense that had like one of the worst performances last season than anyone else. So I don't know how that really helps. So Dan Quinn bringing in the guys that he knows. So, but like that, yeah, I think it's quite agreeable. Like I said, it's a bit more predictable, the NFC this year, than the AFC. But yeah, like that, and I think so that you're saying that the Bucs are going to get the bye. I think they're going to run that division out for a little while because all those teams are going to be rebuilding for the next couple of years. It's just how long Tom Brady wants to stay will be sort of, the reason why they keep winning the division and keep making it to the playoffs. But any other points, Fionn, before we move on about the NFC this year?
No, I think it'll be interesting. I think the NFC East and the NFC West will probably have the most interesting football in terms of the division rivalries and how close it's going to be right at the end. I can see wins changing around, and I'd probably be less confident actually about those two than some of the other predictions that we've made over the last week. And San Francisco specifically will be very interesting to see, like you mentioned already, how Trey Lance will be mixed in with Jimmy Garoppolo. I think in a similar manner to the Bears, I think if he leaves Garoppolo in there on his own as the starter, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes much further into the season than people are necessarily predicting.
That's if he stays fit.
That's if he stays fit, but he has managed this offense very well, and he is very effective. Okay, he might have limitations, but inside those limitations, he is very effective and has proven before that he can win football games. So I don't think they'll be necessarily in a hurry to put in Trey Lance, but where it's effective and where it gives them the best potential to win, naturally they're going to do it. So we'll see how far into the season that might give them an extra win or two. Of course, it might lead to an extra loss or two as well. These rookies, while they can play spectacularly, it doesn't always end in the win column. When it gets down to the nitty gritty right at the end of games, mistakes can be made. So that'll be interesting to see how that falls out.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that is a perfect place to sort of end this show. Look, Fionn, we're less than what? We're less than a week away. It's Friday. We're less than a week. This time next week, we'll know who has won the first game of the season. It's been
that first L in the Cowboys
in the Cowboys column
that I've predicted. So that'll be a good start for me, I think.
Are you excited though?
I am very excited. Yeah, I can't wait. I wish I had a New Jersey winging its way to me. Somebody will by that stage, by the time we get into the weekend's games. So that'll be very exciting. I have one of my old jerseys. I'm not going to manage to get a new jersey for this season. So really jealous of our listeners and our followers at the moment.
Yeah, that's it. And if you don't know what Fionn is talking about, we are running a competition on our social pages. You have the opportunity to win an NFL jersey of your choice leading in to the new season, with thanks to our partners on this, Horan Estates. Make sure you're following them, and if you are selling a house in the area, make sure you think of them, give them a call, see what they can do for you. Also, make sure you're following us on our page at UnderCenterPod on both Instagram and Twitter. That's where you'll find the details how to enter the competition. It is running until Thursday, the 9th of September. That is the night of Thursday Night Football. The season kicks off that night, and you will have the brand new season start, and you could possibly have a brand new NFL jersey on the way to you. Make sure you are involved in that competition because you don't want to miss out on the opportunity to grab yourself a free jersey, because we all know how expensive they are. If you have a chance to get a free one, you got to do it, guys. You just have to. You just have to. I know my cousin has entered. His name actually, Fionn, is Darren Malloy. You know.
Oh yeah, okay, interesting. Yeah.
I have another cousin. This is from my mother's side now, called it's actually called Dara Woolhead. There's a lot of Daras in the family.
Interesting.
So
I know they all live in the same address. That's very
they've
strange.
entered too. Look, we're a big family, Our house is their house. They can come over whenever they like.
Mi casa es su casa. I get you.
Exactly. So, but look, I'll keep an eye out for that.
All Seahawks fans, or are they around the league? Might get an 49ers jersey winging its way to your house.
They do like to follow in my footsteps. I am a bit of a leader in that sense. I am the leader of the show, and I'm a leader in the family too. And they kind of like to follow the Seahawks because I follow the Seahawks. So, they could get a Seahawks jersey, but we'll never know. I don't think they're going to win. I think that's a bit too close. What do you think?
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think we'll have to kick them out. Yeah, the family are out, I have to say.
Yeah, I think family are out. So that means you, the listener or the viewer, has a perfect chance to win it. There, after kicking out 2 people now already, so that they can't win it. So make sure you are following us at UnderCenterPod on Instagram, at UnderCenterPod on Twitter. That's where you'll find the details to enter the competition. Make sure you are following on those pages to be in with a chance to win the jersey. But look, guys, that is all the time we have for on this show. Tune in next week. We're going to be previewing the NFL kickoff. We're going to be previewing the Thursday night football game between the Cowboys and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We hope to have some really exciting guests on the show too, so it's definitely a show you will not want to miss. But Fionn, thank you so much for coming on this week, sort of holding down the fort with me and Jake's absence.
No problem. It's a pleasure as always, Dara.
Thank you very much. And until next time, guys, stay safe and we'll see you soon.